Hi, this is Captain Everyman, and I'm coming to you today burdened with knowledge I gained through my superpowers, clarity, insight, and perspective. And I got that through three things that were stated in the first Avengers movie, Infinity Wars. And the first one was that this movie was actually Thanos' story. That was repeated over and over again, of course. And spoilers coming for Infinity Wars along with Avengers Endgame, so if you don't want to be spoiled, now's the time to go. We were told over and over again this was actually Thanos' story. In a lot of the talk by the directors and producers and writers before the movie came out, and we found out how true that was with the ending. One of the things we learned in the movie was that Thanos lost everything, and he gave up all of his children, all the children of Thanos, ended up dying. He lost Gamora, the one that he really loved. And he lost, really, his own identity in the world as the ruler who was going around and had all this power and respect. Now, after the snap, he's not that anymore. He's actually a fugitive because the whole universe is going to be against him now. But there was something even more so, a clue hidden in plain sight. If you go back and look at the movie, if you have it, look at the very last line in the end credits, and it says, Thanos will return. Now, all these things came together, and all of a sudden, insight, clarity, and perspective gave me a view of what's going to happen in Endgame, and here it is. Think about this. Who's the next member who'll join the Avengers? And I know in the next movie that Marvel puts out, we're going to see Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel, and everybody's thinking that that's going to be the twist. She's going to come and join the Avengers, and that's going to make for this new movie, and that'll be the final momentum that gives the Avengers the power to defeat Thanos once and for all. But no, that's not what's going to happen, and it's not Wolverine either. The next member of the Avengers is actually going to be Thanos. Thanos himself. Now, you may think that sounds wild, but it's not. In Endgame, Thanos will return. We've already been told that. But he's not going to return the way we saw him in the first movie. He's going to return to join the Avengers and become one of them. Now, over and over again, Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers kept saying that this is actually Thanos' story. Now, how much more would that be true? When he returns to fight with the Avengers and overcome himself and admits the horrible mistake he made and fights to stop himself from making it. Think about how he's lost everything. And you think about the Thanos in the future, you realize the snap did nothing. That he's really disgraced himself and become this fool and this idiot, the laughing stock of the entire universe. Not only that, a pariah and the greatest criminal ever. And he did all that for nothing. He lost all that he had for nothing. He told Gamora when he met her in the Soul Stone that he gave up everything for this snap. And he smiles at the end. He's accomplished what he felt was his purpose. But in the future, this Thanos, who's been horribly scarred by the snap himself, who's probably dying, he comes to the end of it all and realizes he's had this futile life, that he's made a disgrace of himself, that he's been a complete fool. And then this tells us why. What did Doctor Strange say when he gave up the Time Stone, that that was the only way? Now, what did Doctor Strange do when he let him have the Time Stone? He gave him the power to come back and fight himself. This was what he saw in these infinite futures, that if they allowed Thanos to do the snap and then Thor were to kill him, that he couldn't return to redeem himself. And then Thanos would be, in a sense, victorious because he would have done the snap and never realized what a horrible mistake it was. So he would have died knowing, hey, I fulfilled my purpose. But then he couldn't come back to correct himself. And so that's the twist in Endgame. That's the reveal in Endgame that are giving you the ultimate spoiler. That Thanos has become the worst criminal of all time, the biggest pariah of all time, the biggest fool of all time in the future. He gave up everything. So ultimately, he comes back and he fights with the Avengers to stop himself. And Doctor Strange giving him the Time Stone makes total sense now, because without the Time Stone, they couldn't have this future. when Thanos comes back to avenge himself and stops himself from doing the snap and becomes the Avenger that helps them finally overcome him.